Today, we're going to dive into the ideas of John Locke, a brilliant philosopher from a long time ago. He had some fascinating thoughts about property, and I promise it won't be as complicated as it sounds. So, let's break it down in a way that even a high school senior can understand. Imagine you and your friends are out in the woods, exploring and having fun. You come across some apple trees, and you start picking apples to share with everyone. Now, here's where Locke's ideas come into play. He said that when you mix your effort, your work, with something from nature, like picking those apples, you make it yours. That's called mixing your labor with the land. So, in Locke's world, when you pick those apples, they become your property. You put in the effort to gather them, so it's only fair that you get to enjoy the fruits of your labor. And since there are plenty of apples for everyone, there's no harm in sharing with your friends. Now, let's take this idea to a larger scale. Imagine you find a nice piece of land in the woods, and you decide to build a little cabin on it. Again, according to Locke, if you worked hard to build that cabin and improve the land, it becomes your property. You've transformed it from its natural state into something useful, and that gives you a right to claim it as your own. But, of course, there's a catch. Locke believed that there should be enough and as good left for others. In other words, you can own and use property as long as you don't take more than you need and leave enough for others to have their fair share. Now, let's talk about government and its role in all this property business. Locke believed that governments are there to protect people's natural rights, including their property rights. Your natural rights are like your basic freedoms, the right to life, liberty, and property. The government's job is to make sure nobody takes these rights away from you. But remember, you're not the only one with these rights. Everyone else has them too, and the government should protect everyone's rights equally. It's like a referee in a sports game making sure everyone plays fair and nobody cheats. Locke also said that people give their consent to be governed. It's like an agreement. You let the government make and enforce laws to protect everyone's rights, and in return, you follow those rules. It's a bit like giving up some of your freedom in exchange for the security and protection the government provides. Now, here's where it gets really interesting. Locke believed that property and the right to own it were essential for a successful and peaceful society. When people can own property, they become more invested in their community. They work hard to improve their land or their businesses because they know they get to enjoy the rewards. This hard work benefits not just them but also the whole society, making it prosperous and thriving. Locke's ideas about property had a big impact on how governments and societies developed over time. Many countries adopted the concept of private property rights, which means that individuals have the right to own and control things like land, houses, and businesses. These ideas also played a role in shaping the idea of capitalism, an economic system where individuals and businesses own and operate the resources and industries. It's all about individual initiative and hard work leading to prosperity. But Locke's ideas weren't without criticism. Some people argued that his focus on individual property rights didn't take into account the needs of those who were less fortunate or had fewer opportunities. They thought that some sort of safety net or social programs might be needed to ensure that everyone had a fair shot at success. In a way, these debates about property rights, government, and society are still happening today. People have different ideas about how much government should be involved in regulating property, businesses, and the economy. So, to wrap it all up, John Locke was a philosopher who believed that when you mix your labor with the land or resources, you make them yours. That's the idea of private property. He thought governments should protect people's property rights and ensure fairness for everyone. And his ideas about property had a big impact on how societies and economies developed over time. I hope this little journey into John Locke's ideas on property has been helpful and not too overwhelming. It's exciting to explore these old ideas because they still shape the world we live in today.